In this video, we are going to be testing the buffering mechanism. It is critical that you not only check the buffering when you first configure it, but it is recommended that you periodically check the buffering just to make sure that it's doing its job. There are two ways to validate buffering. The first way would be to utilize the so-called buffering manager application that can be invoked either by using the Pi interface configuration utility or Pi SDK utility on the Pi interface machine. The second method would be to utilize the command prompt on the Pi interface machine. Let's look at the first mechanism, namely using the buffering manager. So let's see how we can invoke that. Let's go to Start, All Programs, Pi System, and now let's select the Pi interface configuration utility. Let's go to Tools and select Buffering. And with this buffering manager, you get the statistics. It gives you this global buffering status. In terms of number of days, it basically gives you the capacity for the buffer. It gives you the events in queues. And it also gives you the total number of events that is sent to the Pi data archive. In the event of normal working operation and the Pi buffer subsystem is healthy, you should be able to see that the global buffering status should be green. Events in queue should not be increasing, and the total number of events should be increasing, which is being sent to the Pi data archive. Now let's look at the second method, namely using the command prompt. Let's close these applications. Now let's open up two command prompts side by side. Let's go to Start Run. We can type CMD, open up one window, and open up another window the same way. Let's go to, on one of the window, to the 64-bit PyPC folder. CD space %pi home 64%, and we need to navigate to a subfolder called bin. In here, type in pi buff ss space -qs, which stands for Q statistics. Here you would note the total event writes and total event reads are the same, which basically indicates that the buffering mechanism is working properly. Data is coming in to the buffer and it's leaving the buffer to the Pi data archive. And at the same time, events and queues is 0. Let's now look at another option where you can find the status. So let's, on the other window, command prompt, let's navigate to the same 64-bit PyPC folder, cd space pi home 64%. We need to again go to the subfolder called bin. Now let's execute the same pi buff ss, but we need to execute the option -cfg. It basically indicates the state, which says sending data, and it is a successful connection. It also gives you the identity, which is Pi identity, which it's using as well. Total number of events sent and things like that. Now let's simulate a scenario where there is a disconnect between the Pi buffer subsystem and the Pi data archive, so as to test the functionality of the Pi buffer subsystem. So to do this, on this command prompt, let's clear it out first. Now let's type in pi buff ss -bc space stop. This basically simulates a disconnection between the Pi buffer subsystem and the Pi data archive. Here you would have already noted. Okay, now let's give a few more seconds. Yep, we now note the total event writes and reads are different, and at the same time events are building up in the queues, which basically indicates that the buffering mechanism is basically collecting all the data from the Pi interface and storing it in files, and that's the reason why you see the events in the queues are building up and the total number of reads and writes are different. Now let's establish back the connection. So instead of stop, I will say start. PyBuffSS dash BC start. Now let's say OK, and you will see that the data is being flushed already from the events in the queues. Now it has gone to 0, and the total number of reads and total number of writes are the same. So which indicates that your buffering mechanism is healthy and working perfectly fine. So in this video, we basically went through the process of testing the buffering mechanism. Towards this end, we saw basically there are two ways to validate buffering. One would be the buffering manager, and another one would be using the command prompt on the Pi interface machine.